It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
NHRA Nitro podcast, Joe Costello back with you. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you are having a great week. We've had a great week so far. Alan Reinhart, Jason Line, those are in the archive. Hopefully you have checked them out. The Ignition Show, a lot of fun with the Super Bowl coming to town. And we covered a lot of ground, from the Irishman to the Red Sox-Astros cheating scandals to just so much stuff, including the Super Bowl. All of that in the archive. But right now, the Parade of Champions will continue with the Racing RV's top Sportsman World Champ, Sandy Wilkins. Sandy's going to be on the show, and we're going to break down his championship year. This is a guy who is a self-taught engine builder who had come close to the World Championship a couple of times, but finally cashed in this year. We're going to hear his story, as we have all the other champions this season, and it is all in the WFO Radio archive. If you haven't already subscribed, we suggest you should subscribe. Click subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, the WFO Radio mobile application. It is all there for you. And maybe write a review. That would be great. WFO is having a great year. Also, I want to offer you some free WFO Radio stickers. It's going to cost you a couple of stamps. I think it's a pretty good deal. WFO Radio stickers, we've got the new ones, right? The new circle that you're seeing everywhere. The new logo. We've got new stickers, and we will send them out to you. First, I want to tell you about a couple of people that make the show possible. It's going to be very, very quick. Talking about MagicDryUS.com, the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. It's made of coconut. It is lightweight. It travels easy, and it works better than anything else. Why would you use anything else when you got Magic Dry supporting drag racing and Scott Palmer and WFO, etc.? Total Seal Piston Rings, 800-874-2753. Keith Jones is always telling me, tell them to call me if they've got questions about piston rings and what we've learned from Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal, the other podcast we do, which is amazing, by the way. Ben Strader, EFI University, Project Spinal Tap is up now, and you should be checking it out. New episodes up now. But the relationship of the piston ring to the overall horsepower and what is possible is amazing. If you're building a high-performance racing engine, you should be using Total Seal, the leader in ring seal technology. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, frankhawley.com, 866-480-7223. Of course, we want you to tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. But really, this is the year, right? This is the decade. You need to get behind the wheel of a dragster and have this experience. All of my loyal listeners, if you haven't yet done this, it is fun, it's exciting, it goes to where you are so you don't have to travel a long distance. They provide everything, you provide nothing. It is a good time. The Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com and samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed, 713-683-3817. If you're a young person looking for direction, I would like to think, with this podcast and drag racing, you might want to get involved in engine building and CNC machining and motorsport EFI tuning, all of these different things. You going to school is a good way to get started, and then they can help place you. It's kind of a new era. Samtech.edu. You want that education. And finally, Rodax coffeeandgrills.com, 817-924-6821. I start my days with a little Rodax coffee. I like the caffeine blast. Yes, it's true, but it's the hot sauces and the spice rubs that are so good with the grilling that just puts it absolutely over the top, and you already know this. Big thanks to Drag Racing Edge Magazine and EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device, little cross-promotional partners, and we appreciate them. All right, you want your free stickers? Here comes. Castello Media /WFO stickers. Am I bribing you with free stickers to listen to the spots? Is that what it has all become? I don't think so. Castello Media /WFO stickers. P.O. Box 848-353. Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. One stamp, I put 4 stickers in there, and it'll go, and that's it. And I think the stickers are a little smaller now, by design. And I think you'll be happy, and I'll be happy, and everyone will be happy. We'll get these WFO stickers out there for free. Just send the self-addressed stamped envelope, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Here we go. The WFO Radio Parade of Champions continues. That's right. There's a lot of champions, and we have been catching up with them for the last month or so. And the archive is loaded, but we have got a new one. Our Racing RV's top sportsman, world champion, who hails from the NHRA Southeastern Division, Division 2, Mr. Sandy Wilkins, joins us now. Sandy, congratulations on your championship. How are you?
Thanks, Joe. I'm doing great. I hope you are.
I am doing great. And I am excited and eager to talk with you about how you got the job done, because you had a few brushes with greatness when it comes to the championship. Tell the listeners out there, who many of them, let's face it, they love John Force, they love Nitro, they love Pro Stock, and they're hearing about Top Sportsman. They know what it is, but getting to know the people and why it's so important to you, that's what's new. You have been knocking on the door for this championship for several years. How close had you come?
Well, the very first year we were sixth, and then third, and then second. And, last year we took sort of some time off and didn't go to all the races, finished 11th. So, every year I feel like we've had an opportunity, and we've tried to chase it since 2015 when they started this national championship. And, it's something we really wanted to be the first national champion, and then we wanted to be the second and the third, and then, wow, finally, after all these years of chasing it, we got there.
And it is a huge deal, and everybody should know, I got to hang out with Sandy at the Southeastern Division Awards ceremony, and everybody was very legitimately and genuinely happy for you achieving this goal. It was not a secret that you really wanted this to be on your resume. You wanted to accomplish this. You're a very successful, high-quality racer. You just came up short a couple of times. Was it surprising to you how many people were genuinely happy and prideful on your accomplishment?
It was surprising. It's actually very humbling, and you really can't explain the feeling that you get from all the people that give you the accolades and say, congratulations, and people that you had no idea they even knew who you were. I'm by definition fairly humble in general, and it's just overwhelming with the number of people that watched and then were genuinely happy. I felt when they showed the video, and I wish that's something everybody could see and hear what the announcer said at the banquet, how it all kind of played out. It really it kind of gave me chills. It was really neat.
Yes. You didn't quite totally break down into tears, which, that's good. You held it together. But for those that don't know, you will be able to see that. From what I understand, Rich Schaefer is going to put that out either on NHRA Southeastern Division Facebook page, or it will be somewhere. And they did a great job of juxtaposing the space program with what we call our rocket ships, Top Sportsman, the quickest cars at the divisional level. And they did such a great job of comparing what you guys do to what they were doing, and putting on the edge of the envelope, the right stuff kind of mentality. And I think we all were very surprised at the level of production and how great a job they all did.
Yeah, Rich does a fantastic job. I think if he didn't make it as a division director, which he does a fantastic job at also, but he could always work in the movie industry. He's just that good, and he brings it a more personable level than I think any of the other banquets do. I haven't been to any other banquets, but just from what people have posted online and what have you, I feel like Rich has got them all topped for sure. Well,
there's definitely a competition between the divisions at all levels, but that's a good, healthy competition. So before we get into the start of your championship run, we know that you were going out to win a championship this year. I would like my listeners to know where your head is at in terms of you're an engine builder, right? And we say it on the mic whenever you come out that this is your profession, and you've got one of the cleanest cars out there. It is an amazing 69 Camaro, beautiful machine, extremely quick, extremely fast, do a great job. But you worked at Roush Yates Racing Engines for a long time. You've set out on your own. That's why you're in an echoey, empty office right now as you're moving everything into your brand new engine shop. Talk a little bit about, at your engine building career, independent of drag racing. Like, how did you get into that, and what did you work on for those guys?
Well, it's been sort of a storied career. I actually went to college to be a school teacher, which not many people know, and I was going to teach auto mechanics. And my very first job, the 2 days after I graduated, was working for an engine building shop during the summer. And I thought to myself, I'll do this for a couple of years, and then I'll get a real job, teaching school. And that sort of transpired into building late model stock engines for national champions at that time in NASCAR. And then
Feel free to drop names, Sandy. We are all about that. If it's somebody we know of, we want to know that you touched their car.
Well, we did things for people back in those days, for Barry Begley and Dennis Setzer, Scott Riggs. Those were the types of guys that were just getting started that eventually made it to some of the higher NASCAR levels.
Trucks. Setzer was big in the trucks.
Yes, he was. We actually did the trucks and the engines for him at that time. It just, I was just a youngster getting started in the engine business, and what a neat deal to meet guys like that and be able to be a part of it. And then it eventually ended up starting my own business in Raleigh, North Carolina. And after being successful for about 6 years in some things like the ADRL and IHRA, I was approached by Roush Yates, and they basically bought me out to come work for them. And that was a really neat deal. So that allowed me to basically get out of any type of debt I was in and move to Mooresville and become part of a pro stock drag racing program, which was very short-lived at Roush Yates. But we did engines for Justin Humphreys, both his Chevy and his Ford program. And he was a qualifier at Indy and had some good runs, but even won one race in NHRA Pro Stock. But then that sort of folded, and I took over a different position where I was running the Sportsman drag racing program there. And as years went by, Ford decided they wanted to do a GT program, and I got put on the Ford GT road racing engine platform, and that was something that I was really interested in because my dad and I had road raced it earlier in our racing careers, and the Ford GT was planning on going back to Le Mans. And what a great history Ford has. If anybody's seen the movie Ford versus Ferrari, they 50 years later they wanted to go back and do it again, and that's what we did, and we beat everybody in Le Mans. And what a great thing to have on your resume that you were part of the engine team that built the engines for the Ford GTs that won Le Mans, not only beating all the Ferraris and Porsches and what have you. I mean, the biggest race in the world of any type. But the history that was tied to 50 years prior, and all the people we got to meet, and just the stories that people get to tell is just amazing. And anyway, that along with doing engines for the Roush Yates Cup side and doing some machine work for those guys, I've been a part of a lot of different really neat programs, and it would take a long time to kind of go through it all.
Well, I think it's enough to know that you're not just a V8 guy, right? Like, people think drag racers, big V8s or, V8s or, even comp, small V8s, that you have experienced. And I think it's amazing. You sound like you're kind of self-taught in the game, which is challenging these days. But the fact that you had hands-on with the Le Mans program is a big deal. And I think you told me at one time you did some of the smaller engine stuff, like some of the top secret stuff behind the, the eye scan doorways.
Well, and that was a lot of the Ford GT program was the V6 twin turbo project, and that was very secretive, and we worked on that for a number of years before they ever even came out with the Ford GT car, and that was it was really interesting to be a part the development. So you're there from day one with Ford and Ford engineers, with this plan that's 4 years out. Hey, our plan is to win a race 4 years from now, and they got to it, and we got to building some really neat stuff and trying some things, and it's something that very few people have the opportunity to do, and to see how the inner workings of what is probably one of the biggest companies, in the United States, if not the world, Ford Motor Company, and to be able to work, hand in hand with those guys on building something sort of secretive, and it's sort of the way things used to be, I guess. And in today's world, there's not much of that really happens.
Right. Well, it makes sense, and that's one thing that I admire. I like, setting a challenge, and that's what the going to the moon analogy was all about. Like trying big things that you don't know if you could do it, and like setting a goal and going for it. And there's a good chance you're going to fail. It's not going to happen, but you're doing it anyway for the experience of learning on the way.
Exactly, and it's that's one of the things that I've been credited with over the years was kind of doing things differently from everybody else. So I ran a top sportsman car for a number of years in NHRA that was a tri-fuel engine. It was alcohol injected with gasoline and nitrous oxide injection as well on a Kinsler stack injector on a small block. And that car ran and won tons of races, and my top sportsman career started in IHRA in 1998, and in IHRA I've never won a division championship, I never won a national championship, but I think between the national and divisional level I was second more than 6 times. And I was so close for so many years. So anybody who's followed what we've done since the late 90s knows that getting this national championship has been something I've been going after for, well over 20 years now.
Well, let's talk about it. I do want to ask you about the new engine shop. You have since struck back out on your own, and, the entrepreneurial spirit has got you, and you're going to go out and do that. And I think being a world, everyone says national championship. I say world champion, because you're the best top sportsman racer in the world. You may only run in the United States of America, but sorry, this is where the best of the best are. You're the world champions. Like, when the New York Yankees win the World Series, they're the world champions, right? Well, they play baseball in other places, sure, but no, you're the world champ, Sandy. The world, the whole world. We could even say galactic if we want. But let's go back to January, a year ago. You setting up to go out and win a world championship, having been taking a year kind of off, knowing all those things you just said to us about having come close. What were you doing differently this year to make sure this year was going to be the year at this time a year ago?
Well, you can always plan, and which is what we do. And I plan all winter long. I do all the maintenance, and the way that I do my engine program and transmission, rear end, car, etc., is all based on working on it the next time. So I look forward in time and say, I'm going to fix this particular item on the engine so that when I have to work on it next time, it's easier. And same for the transmission or the rear end, or if it's something as simple as changing the seatbelts in a car, which is difficult to do, I'm going to build a tool where I can get to this bolt easier next time. And that's my plan, because I don't look for how can I get through today as easy as possible. I look for how can I get through tomorrow easier than I am today. And that's, I don't know how many people think that way. It may be odd that I think that way, but I always look toward the future. I plan on being here tomorrow, so tomorrow needs to be easier than today.
You're lazy. You're a lazy guy. You want to make tomorrow easy.
Well, I don't know if lazy is really the right term, Joe, but that's, we'll use that if you want.
No, I'm kidding. Well, it's funny you say that, Sandy, because, no, listen, I had a radio mentor tell me something almost exactly like that. He said, listen, you work hard because at some point you don't want to work hard. And you go through a couple of additional processes, like with sound, with audio, different things, right? Now, so that you can have it a little bit easier down the road during critical times. And it seems like the same philosophy. And he joked about being lazy, and that's why he went through all the extra work to be able to lighten his load down the road, and that's why I make the joke, but it sounds like the same theory.
I agree. It's easy just to fix it for today, and then we'll worry about it again later. But I would like to fix it for today so that we don't have to worry about it later, and that when we do have to worry about it the next time, that it's just that much easier to deal with. So that's sort of how I plan my race car, my racing operation, the hauler, the trailer. Everything is based on what's happening next. So, we go to Orlando at the beginning of the season, and I've spent all winter kind of modifying this and fixing that. But the goal is the same, and that is to not screw up. Screw up less than I did last year. And I think that's a key. So many errors you make driving are what have caused us to not win championships. Not necessarily the car. The car is always really pretty good. It's today's technology. Transmissions, rear ends, engines, etc. all last. So tires are better, tracks are better, track prep is better. So the reality is, normally when I lose a round, it's because of me, not because of my equipment. So that was really the goal. The first race of the year was just don't screw up.
Interesting. All right. So, how did it go? Start us off in Orlando and, kind of take us on the journey in that everybody, there's a point where you get hot or maybe you're not hot at the beginning and you have to, your back's against the wall. It might not be the year. And then all of a sudden, we've heard so many different championship scenarios. Tell us about yours. How did it go from the start of the season? And take me to the point that might be considered the turning point.
Well, the first race in Orlando is always extremely early, and for those guys that don't know, it starts the last week of January normally, or well, it has in the last couple of years, and that's tough. It's tough to get ready. It's even tough to get up to speed for the first race in January, and the guys from up north may not be able to get out of the snow to come down there and race. So Orlando was sort of disappointing when we arrived because there were only 16 cars on the grounds. And you're like, well, that's a 4-round race. So if we do good, it's a 4-round race. It's not as many points. It's 85 points. And luckily we had, actually I think there might have been 15 cars on the ground because we had a bye run early on. But we ended up winning Orlando, which was great in the total scheme of things. But on the flip side, everybody else in the country is going to have 95 points for winning winning the race. So we left Orlando on a high note because we won, but we're just kind of thinking, hey, this isn't going to be a great start. Then we go to South Georgia and don't do very well. We went to the Baby Gators, didn't do all that great, maybe a second rounder, and then here comes the Gators, and the Gators was range shortened for us, and we actually ran the race on Saturday night, which for me actually worked out really well. I enjoy and feel better about driving when I can make run after run after run instead of 2 runs on Friday, 2 runs on Saturday, 1 run on Sunday, etc. But we were able to run, if I'm thinking right, all 4 runs on Saturday. And, you kind of get in the zone. And once you're in the zone, you don't want to have to put off racing until the next day. So, anyhow, the Gators was good to us, and we won that. And, at that point, hey, we've got 2 wins and 4 races. We're batting 500. That puts you in the Hall of Fame in baseball. But in drag racing, it just gives you a chance to come back. So we took some time off after that. And my crew chief was not helping us this year to start the year, and Michelle and I decided we were going to go up to Reading, which I'd never been to, and we just needed some time off. Michelle's father had passed away, and we sort of took the middle of the year off, and we missed Bristol, and which is one of our favorite races, we kind of had decided, the championship wasn't really important, and that, winning it would be great, but, with the family situation and missing Bristol and, not being able to travel like we want to, we just won't even worry about it. So we went to Reading, and just the two of us were able to win there, and it was really enlightening, actually. The two of us could get this done and had a good weekend, and we come home and we're driving home and like, wow, we've got 3 wins, and a bunch of second rounders, and would 3 wins actually get us a championship? Well, who knows? So what the heck? Let's go to Indy and try it, since it's the first time Top Sportsman ever raced at Indy. And well, of course, we sucked at Indy. It was a whole lot of rain, and actually, I burned a piston on the first run in Indy, because in the travels, the water pump fell apart in the trailer, and I didn't realize it until after my first run. You don't notice it in the warm up. It just it warms up, and at the end of the run there, it's the water pump is raising some cane, and the engine's 220 degrees. Like, man, what in the world has happened here? And we get back to the pits and got a burnt piston. And between Q1 and Q2, because of the rain they were having up there, we hustled up and changed the piston in about 2 hours. And actually, Steve Matuzik came over to just check on us, see how we were doing, and I put him to work. And he's putting rings on a piston for me. And anyway, it was a good bonding weekend, but as far as results at the track, it was terrible. And the engine wasn't sealed up very good, and couldn't really run our dial second round, and at Indy, and went on to Norwalk from there. And that was the weekend I kind of decided I was going to open my own shop. We have all this windshield time, and Don, the crew chief, had decided to come back and help me for Indy and Norwalk, and we had hours and hours of talking, and kind of decided that was the weekend that I'm going to go back into business for myself. And we head to Norwalk, and Norwalk's always been a good race for us, and we ended up running up there even with the engine not being 110%. And I came home and took the engine apart and did a little quick rebuild, and said to myself, man, if we had 1 or 2 more good weekends, we might could win this thing. So I'd never been to Columbus before, and we decided to go to the Sports Nationals. And well, we get another runner up there, and that sort of solidified. I'm in the hunt. We've got to go after it, and we're going to do what we can. I think at that point I was 3rd, possibly, or maybe 4th in the national standings. But if you're that close, and you're getting close to the end of the year, and mathematically you've got a chance, well, heck, you just got to go for it. So, we went to Virginia and lost a tough one, driver error again. And
what kind of error?
I took too much finish line stripe. It got really cold, and I was, I figured the dial-in was going to be at a certain point, and it was a couple numbers faster, but my opponent was really late on the tree, and I'm at 1,000 foot, and I've already passed him, and I'm, kind of whopping the throttle, and figure, well, if I whop the throttle 3 times, there's no way I'm going under, so I take him through about a half a car length or maybe a little more, and I get through the finish line and look around, and I'm like, man, my lamp's burnt out. I didn't, what happened? What's going on? They need to change the bulb out here on the wind light. And I get my ticket, and I'm like, what do you mean I didn't win? It's one of those times you got to show me the paperwork on this. There's no way I didn't win that.
That's a horrible feeling. I know that feeling. It's
terrible. but at that point, I think I had to win that round to maybe go to the lead, and you're kind of depressed and don't know what to do. And I don't know which happened first, Galat or that, but Galat was sort of the same type of deal. I had to win second round to move up in the standings, and I didn't do it. And to kind of gain some traction on the whole deal. And I think when we went into Rockingham, I might have been one round out of the lead or one round in the lead. Honestly, I don't remember. The points kept kind of going back and forth between Doug Crumledge and Alan Firestone. And both of those guys are great racers. And, they had 3 races left after my final race. So I'm thinking if I leave Rockingham and I'm not in the lead by about 60 points, I'm going to be in trouble. And somehow or another, we pulled it off at Rockingham. And Rockingham was really a crazy race. It was wet, rainy. It got kind of cold, and the track is very iffy. And rarely ever, it's the last race of the year, and you say to yourself, all right, I got to do everything I can do to win this race, but I've got 30 runs on my tires, so they should be good. At the last minute, we get down to Rockingham, and I said, I'm putting a brand new set of tires on for this last race because the track could be iffy with the weather conditions. And honestly, it was a great call. You don't want to spend that $1,000, and have tires sit in the garage all winter long that are brand new. But we decided to go ahead and put new tires on it. The car was perfect. We ended up making it to the 3rd round, and we were going to pull out to go to the lanes, and the car wouldn't back up. We tow our car or push our car with a golf cart and trying to back it up, and the car's locked up. And I told Don, I said, something is broken, ring pinion or transmission, something's broken. So he pushed it forward about 2 feet and pulled it back, and it rolled fine. So we were able to win 3rd round. And,
wow! Heart attack moment.
Got back to the trailer, and and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're in the points lead. I've got something's broken in the race car. We just pulled back into the pits. They're already calling us for fourth round. We can't check anything. But we found a jack and jacked up the rear end and spun it backwards and spun it forward and spun it backwards and couldn't find anything, couldn't hear anything that was broken. So I told Don, so we're going to go up there, and we actually had a buy run for the semis. So we're not going to take the run. We're just going to go up there and take the tree, which is what we did. And, of course, by the time we get back to the pits for the finals, they're already calling us to the lanes. And, they're trying to fight weather and the cold and what have you. It was getting dark. And the car wouldn't back up again, And I'm like, oh, gosh, Don, what are we going to do, man? We can't run the final round. This is what we need. We've got to get the points for the win, et cetera, et cetera. And anyway, we were able to shake it around enough to get it to back up, and we pulled up into the lanes and did a little short burnout and staged and had a extremely close race against Jackie Robinson where we came in on the winner side, which was at that point you're kind of thinking to yourself, I've done all I can do. I've done all I can do to win this championship with all that's happened this year, and somehow or another with a broken race car we won the event, and we'll just see what happens for the next 3 races for these other guys.
What happened? What was the problem?
Broken planetary.
Wow.
So it actually broke a tooth, and the tooth, I guess, got caught up in the planetary, and it wouldn't allow it to back up, and it must have fallen out when we pushed it forward. So.
Wow, what an incredible story. You overcoming adversity in the rain at Rockingham, winning the race. Jackie's a great racer also. So now you got the points lead, and the tough part begins, right? Just having to, watch as others try to take you down. Where were you? And tell me about the moment where your competition is trying to take the championship that you fought so hard for and the moment that you became a champion.
Well, in years past, I've actually been in the lead at Rockingham and watched it go away. I can remember vividly having Kevin Kleinweber call me and or text me and tell me how some such and such just won this round. How does that affect you? Well, that I lose my points lead because this guy passed me. So after Rockingham in 2019, I'm like, I am not convinced that we won the championship by any stretch of the imagination. We had a good lead, and it may have been in the 60-point range. With 3 races left for Doug Crumlich and maybe 2 races left for Alan Firestone, and at least maybe 1 or 2 that could pass me. And the next race I think was Dallas, and I tried not to watch it, but my wife was intently on the internet looking to see what these guys were doing, and she would text me and call me and what have you. And it, they left Dallas and they didn't make much ground on me, and I can't remember what race was next, to be honest. It's all such kind of a blur, but
Vegas.
The next race,
Dallas, Vegas, right?
Vegas, okay. And so anyway, but yeah, the Dallas and Vegas, those were the last 2. That's right. So anyway, when we get to Vegas, Alan Firestone is claimed out, and he was, right on my heels, just barely behind me, and Doug Crumlich had to win the event to pass me. And so I felt okay, but I'm still giving it a 50-50 shot, at that point, because heck, Doug Crumlich is a good racer. He can win that race. He's won, 2 or 3 other events in the same year. So there's, in my mind, this guy can go past me, no problem. And it was, it's difficult because they started eliminations on Friday, and I believe it was Friday. And anyway, he wins first round, and I'm kind of,
Yeah, what's that experience like, Sandy? Like, out of control for a race car driver, for an engine builder? Like, typically it seems like you're pretty much in control of the stuff that you handle. You are on your couch, out of control, watching someone. It has to be a pretty aggravating situation. Was that fun to go through?
The answer is no, that was not fun to go through. It was, I really felt sick to my stomach every time Top Sportsman came to the lanes. I'm like, because I didn't know if he was going to be first pair, last pair, and it's nerve-wracking, to say the least. I probably came close to giving myself an ulcer watching that. And I didn't watch Friday, but I did watch, Saturday, which they had 2 rounds on Saturday, or 3 rounds, I can't remember. But anyway, it was, every round he won, he's that much closer to beating me. And it is agonizing, to say the least. Just terribly agonizing to watch your closest competitor, the guy that can beat you, and you've seen it happen before, where the guys just go out there and they keep winning rounds and they pass you. So after he won 3rd round, I was about to commit, Harry Carey. Like, if I have to watch this guy pass me, it's going to be, I'm going to feel like Doug Coletta and Tony Schumacher, years ago when, Tony had
the run.
To do the run. Exactly. And it happened. Like, anything can happen, and Doug Crumlich can pass me. That's how I felt. And we got to 4th round, and I'm like, it's 4th round. He's only got to win 2 more rounds. And like, anybody can win 2 rounds. It was very difficult. And then when he won, or lost, when we won, he lost a tremendously close race. Like, it could have gone either way. And, the racing gods were shining down, and it worked out for us. But
tell me about that moment. His win light doesn't come on. You're watching NHRA.TV. You hear the call of the race. I think it might have been Nate Hershey doing the call. And tell me about that moment where now the pressure's off. You won from 1 second to the next. You become a champion.
It was unbelievable relief. There's no explanation for the feeling, and it's, I was with my wife, and my girls were there, and we're in the living room, and we're jumping up and down, and my wife gives me a big hug and a kiss, and like, like, man, this is the best thing of all time, and she's like, I'm so proud of you. You had such a great year, and I'm like, oh wow, thanks. And she's like, all right, I'm going to get groceries. See you later. and she walks out.
Perspective.
And,
there it is. Back to life. Okay.
It's back to life. And it's funny because it happened just like that. And then I got some phone calls, and other people were watching it. I mean, but she was out the door before my first phone call. And and life goes on, right? This is something we work for. It's something we've wanted for years, and you know what? The groceries are really important.
Got to have those groceries. Wow, Sandy, what a story! You have earned this championship so well. And, again, back to the Division II awards banquet, everyone was fired up that one of their own was able to go out and win the Racing RV's Top Sportsman World Championship. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing that story. Tremendous stuff. And now let's just let's end it off with the the new engine shop. All right, what's the plan? What kind of engines do you build? For who do you build? And what kind of customers are you looking for? Use this form. I like to think we've got some Lucas Oil Series racers and people who aspire to have fast engines listen to this show. What's the plan for this? Okay, first of all, what's the name?
It's Wilkins Racing Engines, and we're located in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I'm actually about 3/4 of a mile from the Mooresville drag strip, so I'm close. We can build you an engine, and then you can go test it right down the street. So it's a really good location. Lots of racing in this area. I've done a little bit of everything engine-wise over the years, and I will take on any project that is, kind of off the wall. But I'm definitely specializing in the drag racing market. I've had people ask me for years while I was at Roush Yates, can you please build me an engine? Can you do something on the side? And the answer was always no. Well, now, those guys that wanted me to do something those years, and now that we have the opportunity. So I've got some really neat projects in here right now, and the majority of drag racing engines are, either small or big block Chevrolets, but I've got some really neat, some FE Outlaw Superstock project from in the Midwest. It's a little sheet metal manifold 2.4 FE engine that goes into a Thunderbolt, which is just a really neat little package.
Oh, wow.
And it's we're kind of bringing it up to speed with today's quality products and parts. And I've got an RY45, which is an engine I helped develop at Roush Yates, and it's a 4.5-inch bore space small block Ford, but we're doing some of those for off-road truck guys that run out in California, and they run the Lucas Series out there. And of course, I've got your standard big block Chevys, your Super Comp and local dragster type engines, but I've also got a top dragster engine in here for Lindsey Barker, and trying to get their stuff back up to speed for 2020 and beyond. And I've even got some Pro Nitrous stuff in here for some guys that run PDRA. So a little bit of everything.
Wow.
Is what we do.
Well, listen, you got the resume. Now you got a world championship on there, and I think things are going to get better. You did announce at the banquet there was maybe some doubt about whether or not you would chase the world once again, and it would make sense if you would take the year off, right? Build the business, work on the business. But that video brought you back, apparently.
It was the video was really touching, and it hit home in so many ways that Rich could never even fathom, and it got me excited about trying to make the first race and get there. But just to be totally honest, the business should come first. It's important that I provide for my wife and kids, and that's number one on the list. Now, of course, they all want to go racing, and everybody in the house is like, are we going to Orlando because I want to go? So it's sort of a struggle. Do I work on that in my off time? Do we try to build the business? But we're going to try and do a little bit of both. But I'm definitely, the business is up and running. It is functional. I've probably got in the range of 15 engine projects in here right now that we're working on, and all those guys are important, and they all want to go racing too. So we're going to we're going to make it all happen one way or another. We may miss the first race, but we won't miss too many after that.
Exciting. Congratulations, Sandy. Thank you for giving us the breakdown of your 2019 Top Sportsman World Championship. As I said at the beginning, people were pretty stoked to see you go out there and win, and it was not an easy journey, but it's something that will never be taken away. It's such a great category, one of my favorites. Really quick and fast bracket racing, so every bracket racer across the country can in some way relate to what you did and experienced. And so great job. Thank you for sharing your entire experience and your championship with us here on the WFO Radio podcast.
Joe, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Sandy. Sandy Wilkins with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro Podcast. I should just call it the NHRA Podcast, right? NHRA Podcast. Because it's not all Nitro anymore. I'm really proud of how we are delving into the Lucas Oil Series, and I don't have favorites when it comes to drag racing anymore. You don't have to. The people who don't like Pro Stock, or they don't like Top Fuel Harley, or they don't like Alcohol Funny Car, or they don't like Comp Eliminator, or they like, what's the deal with that? Just enjoy it all. There are, what kind of steak do you hate, right? It's like, oh man, the ribeye, I don't like that one. Too much fat. No, it's actually great. But hey, whatever you want to do. Top Sportsman is one of my favorites. And I can't wait that the video comes out. I can't wait for you to see it. A lot of work went into it, and it was really well done. These cars are fast. That's the thing. I think we have all lost our understanding and concept of what speed is with these numbers and common runs over 200 miles an hour. Like it's a normal thing. 200 miles an hour. Whereas 100 miles per hour is fast. Most people don't have a car that'll go 100 miles an hour in a quarter mile. Like the overwhelming majority. And to be in that car, it would be super fast. He's going 200, and he's bracket racing. It's amazing. They are rockets. Thanks to Sandy. And he's going to come on again. He's got a whole nother version of the story. Like, how did he learn all this stuff? Amazing. And thanks to Sandy and the family. I got to hang out with him. Don Schufert out there, who is Sandy's crew chief, wanted to mention Don. Don's name got dropped a couple of times. He is back in the game. I don't know if I'm supposed to share this, but he's going to be doing a little super stock action in a certain red Camaro that is a pretty well-campaigned car that does pretty well. So we'll see that. And thanks to Sandy for coming on the show. And thanks to you for listening. And thanks to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and samtech.edu, Total Seal Piston Rings, and MagicDryUS.com, and Rodax Coffee and Grills.com. Thank you all, you sponsors, for making it possible. And for you listeners, if you really like this stuff, if you want coffee, get Rodax. Simple as that. If you need piston rings, get Total Seal. If you're looking for an education, samtech.edu, or Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School for a good time. And Magic Dry, of course, if you're going to clean up a mess in your shop. Just like that, another week of WFO is in the books. We had such a good week, and they're only going to get better and better as we ramp up to the start of the season. You can imagine, WFO Joe is hauling the mail, trying to get ready for the Lucas Oil Winter Nationals and to head out. I would love if you guys would go to your DVR and DVR Performance TV on Motor Trend Network. Myself and Kathy Fisher having a good time. Remember, everybody, we want to do the Erica Enders, Courtney Enders Right on Track watch party. We're all not watching it together. That's not what it is, but everybody watch it. It's now on Disney+. You can search it real easy and watch the movie. It's great stuff. Got a lot going on as we get ready for the start of the 2020 campaign. Hopefully you'll come out to a race. Like Jason Lyons said, come out to a race. This is the year. And come out to a race or 5 or 10. And spend a good time with us. Got a lot of good stuff going on. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your week. WFO. And remember, you can always hit the archive.
This is WFO Radio.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to magicdryus.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. magicdryus.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's magicdryus.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com. We're talking gourmet coffee, we're talking hot sauces, we're talking spice rubs, we're talking everything good at RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak, been doing it since the 70s, figured out that life is better with great coffee, and oh, he's so right. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. He'll roast up some coffee fresh for you. Throw in some hot sauce, some spice rub, and you will be loving it. Hit him up, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for Super Comp, Super Gas, all the way up to Top Alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO.
This is Jeff Rice, a.k.a. Deep and Hot. I just want to let you know that NHRA Nitro is probably the best coverage of NHRA drag racing, period. How can you not like a 3.5-hour broadcast with all the winners specifically for drag racing? WFO rules the airwaves.
This is